here in a minute. Make a moderator. Okay, so this is not the smartest guys in the room. As you can see, I'm not the smartest guy, Tom, because I'm not on the live stream yet. So go on, my friend.
Yeah, what's going on there, buddy? You were telling me you're having some trouble getting in. I don't understand. Is it your computer? Is it? I mean, I think everybody here knows you and technology are not good buddies.
Don't put that on me. Don't put that on me. Remember Johnny Pica said that day that it was energy, and maybe I have so much positive energy when I get in a room that all these things are just they can't even handle the positive vibes. That's what I think's going on.
I don't think that's accurate.
Man, you're mean.
I'm not mean. I'm just pragmatic. I'm a realist, right?
It happens with my garage door opener. Come on.
What does that even mean? What does your computer have to do with your garage door opener?
What I'm saying is, John, go on, Brian. Go on, Brian.
He's saying that technology and him don't get along, and no. I understand that. There are some people that just have a hate relationship with technology.
No, see, Brian, I'm saying it's too much positive energy, though. That's what's making it go astray.
The positive energy, the mojo that you exude interferes with technology.
That's what I'm saying. Now you got it. So I'm logging on, Tom. It's it says join stream here. It says it's already going live. I'm going to come out of this shot out of a cannon too when I come on the live stream. So we do a live stream here as well. So if you've never been in the room, we live stream as well. Tom has it all figured out. I don't understand what he does, obviously, but we're going to talk launch day today, Tom. So Brian, Dragon, Prof T, you're launching something. How did you do it? How was it successful? We're all launching podcasts and shows and books and everything like that. So that's what's on my mind. Launch. Tom, you have a book. You have a book coming out soon. Is there any things that you know as far as launch and your publisher said we have to do this?
Yeah, I mean, we're doing a bit of a soft launch. I mean, it's not I'm not trying to hit any bestseller list. That's not really the goal behind the book. So, and I genuinely, I've gotten sort of lambasted for saying this before, but I genuinely don't care about like hitting a bestseller list or anything like that. I honestly not stressed about it at all. So the push is not so much to get to sell a ton of books like in the first week or something, right? Because that's a lot of those metrics are what's tied to bestsellers. For me, the goal is to just spread the word, get the book out there, get it in people's hands. And in order to do that, I'm doing a bunch of things like podcast interviews. I'm talking about it publicly. I'm on a live in-person panel this afternoon with a local business organization. So I'm going to be one of the panelists there, and I'm going to talk about it's centered around promoting your business. We'll talk about the book there. I'm doing a book signing. I'm going to do some events coming up in the new year. So yeah, I mean, those kinds of things. But really, I think one of the big things about launch, right, is people get kind of caught up in the weeds, or sort of, they can't see the forest for the trees. And really, I think one of the most important things to launching anything, whether it's a book or a project or an event or whatever the case may be, is just talking about it every chance you get. Right? Like when you get that message, when you're on that message, when you find that drum, beat on it. Because at the end of the day, not everybody in your audience is going to be new every time they hear you tell that story or talk about that event or talk about that thing you're launching, but there will be new people there every time, right? Like today, I know everybody that's in this room, right? We know you guys, we love you guys, we see you guys in here all the time, right? But I guarantee that somewhere live streaming across the internet, as we are right now, right, on Facebook and YouTube and the website formerly known as Twitter and Twitch and LinkedIn, somebody that doesn't know about legendeering is going to see this or hear this And so it'll be new to them, right? So it may not be new to everyone, but it's new to someone. So when you find that message, when you get that message dialed in, when you get that drum in your hands, play it, beat on it. Don't be afraid to continue playing the same beat on the same drum. If it's catchy, people will start, bobbing their heads and tapping their feet, and they'll tag along and become a part of the movement you're trying to create. So I say play the drum.
Can I just add something about Tom's book really fast?
Please do, Julie. Please do.
So check out the link above, first of all. But I have to say, when Tom says he doesn't care about like ranking and stuff, when we were looking at his book one day online, and I'm like, Tom, you're like ranked number 10 already on Amazon. He got a big smile on his face. So, he liked it. People like to be, and he can tell me I'm wrong, which he likes to do because I say a lot of wrong things, but I think there's something that says what my work matters, and legendarying this work does matter. So check out his book because it launches on January 15th. Let's go.
Yeah, no, I will. You're right, Julie. I did get a smile on my face when I saw that. I was happy to see that. But again, that's not the goal, right? So like, I'm not gonna lie and say like, oh, I'm so indifferent that I didn't even react, right? Like to see my book ranking on Amazon. But at the end of the day, that's not the goal. So did it make me smile? Absolutely. Was I happy to see it? Absolutely. That kind of external validation is really cool. Like here's a good example of external validation, right? And I know why this happened, but it still made me smile, and I thought it was really cool. I even recorded a video about it. I haven't shared it yet, but I was reading an article. This is a few weeks back now. I was reading an article about the end of the SAG-AFTRA strike, and as I was scrolling through that article, the page had banner ads on it, and as I was scrolling through, there was a banner ad for bookshop.org, and the book pictured in the bookshop.org was Legendeering, right, in that ad. So it was my book as part of an advertisement for bookshop.org on the website I was looking at. Now, I know why that happened. I know it's because I've Googled my own book, right? And so it was a retargeting ad. And they were like, hey, he searched this before. Let's retarget a bookshop.org ad with this book that we know he's searched on Google. I totally get it, right? I understand how it works. It was still kind of cool to see my book on a bookshop.org banner ad, on this website that I'd never been to before. It was cool, right? It made me smile. But again, that's not the goal, right? Those are kind of nice little highlights along the way. But yeah, and I would also recommend if you want your book to be promoted, if you want people to talk about your book, get yourself a Julie. Because she is awesome at promoting other folks and lifting up the people around her. So get yourself a Julie if you want to launch a book.
Yeah, that's a good tip. And hey, this is not the smartest guys in the room for our live streamers or anybody here, but good tips all around already. I'm loving it. So we're going to talk launch. And so get yourself a Julie is on my list of things. So it's launch team. So anytime you're launching, whether I believe, especially when you're launching books, but because that's what I know more intimately, but you need a team. Who else has a vested interest? And Julie just wants to see people win. But if you can narrow that down a little bit more, and who else has a vested interest in your book? Who else can you help with your book? Can you set up at a venue where they win? Can maybe somebody get an affiliate link? Is it content related to what they do? Maybe you would have an event at their health and wellness center. Maybe the chiropractor will sell your books on their shelves. How many other people win and benefit from it? So if you can get that team together, maybe they owe you a favor. Maybe they're willing to launch. Maybe they just like to post on social media. Maybe they'll send some letters. Maybe they'll talk about you like Julie's talking about you. If you can get those things together, that launch team, beautiful. So I just want to jump back on this bestseller thing. Bestseller list is not bad. It's good. It's another, hey, good job, did it. If you do if you launch correctly, a lot of times all these things happen organically. that so rather than so let's say for instance I have an author one time that been in a business for 30 years, such a beautiful reputation. This author's going to go number one no matter what. This author got so caught up in wanting to be number one, they lower the price of the book. Well, I want to be number one so much I'm going to lower the price of my book to whatever. This author wants to be number one so bad that they do video daily about being number one, about it's too much. Then they pay a different service to help them. This service, they had a 30-year reputation. This service that they have now has them reaching out to all their contacts hundreds of times. These relationships that this person had built. Now, this person goes number one at a discounted book price against what I would have suggested they sell the book at, because they were going to sell the book no matter what, because they had a good relationship. A couple months later, a person comes back to me and says, I don't want to sell like that anymore. I don't think I should have done it. I don't feel good about it. I didn't want to treat my clients like that. They treated my clients in a way. So what I'm saying is, done right, it's going to happen. Now, there are times, let's say in certain categories, I've released books in the day Little Women came back out or something like that. Well, now you're in a category competing against Little Women or some juggernaut. That does happen. So to think that your book is unworthy because you were number two when Little Women or some other book was number one in that category that relaunched, our friend Tony Robbins relaunches whatever. Well, you got bad timing there. So if you want to put yourself in 19 categories and be number one in category 19, okay, well, it's still not bad. All right. I can go on about, we could have a whole another month of rooms about this conversation right here. And you'd be like, man, Dom's boring. So Brian, you launch podcasts, you launch books, you launch radio show, you launch events. Give us a tip.
Oh, thanks. I guess my tip is there's so much to do out there in terms of trying to launch that I would just pick several things and work on them and be consistent with them, because you can either spread yourself thin doing a lot or really try to focus on 3 or 4 outlets. And as you said, and Thomas said, get somebody like Julie in your corner, get other people in your corner. Dom, you were in my corner for a lot of it. It's hard to know it all and you don't know what you don't know. So that's why you need people like Dom and Tom and Julie and people like that in your corner. So don't feel like you have to do it alone. Don't try to do it alone. Pick, there's so many ways you can launch it. Pick a handful and hard charge it. I guess that's my tip.
That's good stuff, Brian. I knew you'd have some good answers for us. All right, let's keep it going. We're going to ask questions too if you got tips. So you're launching something. Help other people launch. What's been successful for you? What worked? What didn't work? Dragon, you got any launch tips? This guy, international superstar. I would think he probably got some tips for us. What do you got, Dragon?
International superstar. I wish my mom was on this.
Solar. What's
So
bigger than it? Hold on. What's bigger? Give me anybody blurt them out?
Intergalactic.
Intergalactic. That's good. Anything? Can somebody beat Intergalactic? Flash if you can. Okay. You're Intergalactic. Go on, Dragon.
So, the lesson that I learned before I knew how to actually apply it back in the day was just the 5 Ps. Proper planning prevents poor performance. So that's the number one thing. Is like when you have this goal to launch a book or launch a podcast or even get ready. I'm pretty close to booking my first TED Talk right now. So it's like you have these things in the future and you want to execute on them, on whatever level. There's a strategy to get ready. So like with podcasts, and you learn this from people like Julie, the idea would be to have a certain number, have the brand, the logo, all of that stuff ready, and a certain number of episodes in the can before you launch it, rather than just wing it. That's how I did it back in the day. So like my new season of my podcast, which is going to be connected, case in point, to my book, is going to launch in January. So I've already got 8 of those episodes done, right? So that's the proper planning to prevent the poor performance. So that's a big part of it. And the other thing that I would say is beta test things. I think one of the biggest mistakes I've made in the past was that I assumed I knew what I was doing. That's very dangerous, especially when there's people like you guys that know how to do things better. So you got to work with the right people. But what I'm doing for my book right now, before I even like give a tickle to anybody that it's going to be coming out, is I have a beta group that, I have a group of about 10 people, and I know that's a big number, that I really, really know have good insight. And what we're doing is I'm having them read a chapter or 2 a week, and we're actually masterminding on their thoughts. Not to say that whatever they say is what I will make a change, but my book is called Make Sense. I want to know if it makes sense. So that's another way of planning ahead, is actually beta testing things. The last thing I'll say is, a lot of times if I'm going to do something, I'll tease it. I'll go out there and I'll tease the idea and see what the response is. I'll put up a post or something and see if it's interesting to people. So there's so many other things that I'm sure we'll gather from the non-smartest people in the room here. But that's it. It's just, you wake up sometimes and you're motivated and excited and you believe in yourself. That's not a good way to start a business. Take that motivation, excitement, and belief and plan ahead.
Good stuff, Dragon. Good stuff. I love this idea of teasing. I love the beta idea. So, what's something the beta group might have come back with? So, we put our idea to the beta group, our own beta group. What's something that they might have come back with that you said, that's interesting?
Well, I'm always asking them a question about the chapter. Like I might say, does it flow well? Does it make sense? And I'll get that kind of feedback because that's important. But I'll also let people just tell me, if it was perfect, what would be different about it for you, in your opinion? You know what I mean? Like, what would make it read better? Another question, which is tough for authors to read, to talk about, is what would you get rid of? That's a tough question. Or what do you wish was in it? So, it's amazing if you get a good group of people that kind of represents the population you want to, talk to. And also I've got high level people on there that I'm going to have, do my forward and some testimonials on the books. So, what better way to launch a book than to once again see if people like it? Because I've already learned some amazingly valuable things. Also from Heidi and from Julie that are helping me with the book. I got a Julie, but the fact is that I want this book to read well and help people. So ask people what it is that they think reads well and what they want. Just seems logical.
Beautiful, brother. Stick around. We're gonna dig in. We're gonna ask you for some more tips. So don't leave. Prof T, Tom, hold on? Tom, did you want to add something? I'm looking at Tom. He's taking pictures. He's taking pictures. He's sending me what his screen looks like compared to my screen. So Julie told me one day. Julie Loken said, I use my phone. Julie Loken said that there is not a little arrow where you guys can invite people. Is that true for everybody in this room, or is that just because I see a little arrow, but I don't know that you guys see a little arrow where you can like share screen and stuff like that. So, could anybody validate that for me or not validate that?
I cannot invite people. I have the share via social medias and copy link.
Okay, share via social
It's
media.
only if you're a moderator that it lets you, I think.
Okay. Thank you, Stephanie. All right, Prof T, you've launched a bunch of stuff, wildly successful. She's out and about. I'm looking at Prof T's been on a lot of stages lately. I see your pictures, Prof T. So you're launching something. What should we do? How do we be like Prof T?
Good morning, everybody. How are you? So good to be here. It's been a minute. I love what Dragon was just saying. I was really enamored in that. I never even thought of that. And I'm thinking that is an amazing idea. I had a couple of questions for him. I will ask, not right now. If I have a moment, I would like to at another time today, because there's a lot of variables there. Do you pay people to do this? Who's going to give up their time to help? What kind of people do you want? My theory is ABC, always be critiquing. ABC, always be critiquing yourself and allow others to critique you. It's only a form of learning. It's okay. So for launching, I would say you got to practice. Sometimes people just come right out of the stall and they haven't taken the proper precautions or gotten the proper information. And I'm just going to speak quickly on speaking, because that seems to be where my business is going, which I love speaking. Didn't used to, was scared to death. My first presentation, I think I showed up and my brain stayed home. I forgot what I was saying. I didn't like what I was talking about. I didn't know my audience well enough, and I just wanted to die. But I got through it, and it taught me a lesson. You need to know your audience. You need to know who you're speaking to and speak to them as if you are them. So that is number one. Know your audience, and also know your material. It's very clear when people are speaking, and it kind of seems like they just kind of threw it all together. It's pretty obvious, unless you're a really seasoned speaker and you can just pull stuff out of your hat. So definitely ABC, always be critiquing yourself and let others critique you. And if you're launching a speaking career, you need to know how to speak. And I have a Julie. I've had a Julie. Thank you, Julie, for all you've done for me, especially with my book. Thank
XOXO.
you.
Go on, Prof T. Go on. Go on and feel free. Let's hear Dragon. We like to hear Dragon. So ask Dragon one of those questions.
Okay, so thank you, Julie. Julie really helped me launch my book, and unfortunately, I had some really mishaps, and I had a really bad foundation, and she kind of helped me put me right side up. Um, I took a few hits, but it's okay. So, Dragon, I was just thinking, you know, do I just call my friends and ask them to? I mean, most of my friends have my book, but I never even thought about doing that. Do you pay people?
It's such an interesting question. And I think, once again, using rational approach and a logical approach, it might not be a good idea to ask a friend, because then there's the friend component of it. They might lean towards telling you you're amazing, like we tell our kids even when they fuck up, um, or they might be too critical. So I think what's important before you identify where these people are would be to create the avatar of who you're trying to reach. Like, let's say it's, personal growth minded people, that seek, personal growth. You could look at your friends and family and see who one of those people, might be. But what I do is I choose a diverse group of people, from the highly critical, like overly critical, on up to the person that will probably tell me that I'm a blessing from God. So diversity is important. But what I've done, so I've created, and I advertise this, I've created a community, and I call it the Make Sense Academy. So I have a community of people that actually pay me to be in my community. It's a very small fee, so it's ironic. You just made me realize that I have people paying me to be in the beta test. Um, And the reason why I chose that group of people is these people really know me and know my work. So I do want their opinion, right? But then I have to step outside of that as well and take the risk of, asking the highly critical person, just to get a true beta test. And Heidi, I don't know if she's comes to these, but she's somebody that's working with me, thanks to Julie as well. We're part of the Creative Con crew. Heidi gave me some great insight that when you're doing a beta test, and by the way, you can beta test your podcast too before you launch it, right? You can let people listen. But what people say doesn't have to prompt you to change things, right? You can still do exactly what you want to do. So you don't have to go into it saying, if anybody tells me I should change something, add or remove, I have to do it, right? You get to decide that. But it's highly valuable. And the other final thing I would say, and Tom, being someone that's launching your book, there's danger in. We laugh to herself right now, because if it was my say, my book would be like 3,000 pages long. But at the same time, what I'm noticing is, from the beta test and the critiques, it's helping me go through the book again that one last time and either remove or tweak some things, and I feel so much better about them. And had I not done the beta test, I wouldn't even have thought of doing those things. So the value of having outside people look at your work that came from your brain, it's amazing. It's actually so far the most fun part of the whole book, because it's the first time I'm interacting with people about it, and it's being well received.
So if anyone here, Dragon, if you think anyone here would like to pay me to read my book and critique me, please, Dragon, let me know what
Well,
happens after that.
if you want to do that, Prof T, I'll tell you how to do it.
I would love
Don't lead with that. Create, what I created. All these people used to ask me for coaching, and that's expensive, and most people can't afford to coach one-on-one with me. So my idea was, I created high value for a very low. It's $24 a month to mentor with me, but in a group setting. So I created this a while ago, and everybody's jumping on that because the value is so far beyond the $24. But because, and this is the law of reciprocation, everybody, there are people in this room, that I highly respect. Like, just to name a few: John, Dominic, Tom, Jules, that could call me up and say, "Hey, Dragon, I need a favor." And I would do it, regardless of what it was. Why? Because I'm trying to settle the law of reciprocity. So if you do want people to pay you to do something like that, then create content and services that far surpass their commitment of finances and time. And you'll be in a situation where you can ask them for favors, and they will do it to settle the balance. So yeah, anybody could have a group of people that pay you to help you if you're delivering way more value than they're giving you back. You understand? So yeah, it sounds funny, but it sounds like a great idea too.
Prof T, I like it. Dragon, good stuff, Prof T. I get a lot of people to read books of mine and read screenplays of mine, and I will just ask them, the people that want, like Dragon saying, you have this certain community. Some people are looking at it; they love to look at it, and you kind of learn who those people are. And I never expect anything from anybody. If you can't do it, you don't have to do it. If somebody starts expressing more interest, well, then those are the kind of people that I reach out to and say, hey, I know you don't have to do this, but you said you were interested. So here it is. Please, take a look at it, see what you think. And they might say, oh, this. And Dragon, one thing that you said I appreciate is like, you can't take it hard what these people say. You get all these people around you, and some people are straight shooters, some people are lovey-dovey. They're gonna, everything Dragon does, they're gonna be like, it's the most amazing thing of all time. Well, I like to surround myself with people, like even my son. My son is a person that will give you, he never lies, but he gives you his truth. His truth may not always be the the truth. His truth is from his perspective, what he thinks. And so I know when I ask him a question, I'm getting that response. It's not, Dom, this is dad, this is the greatest thing of all time. It is, hey, from my side, here's what I'm thinking. So, all right, Tom, we got to move it on. We got to get to Stephanie, Julie. What's next?
I was just gonna say, I had a bunch of people read Legendeering while we were in the editing phase. Like once we completed the manuscript, while we were doing all of that work before we got to the final stage, before we went to go to print. And I have to recommend, if you have a sibling who is, a voracious reader or a good person for this. My older sister is a voracious reader, and also very, very detail oriented. And so I asked her, amongst a whole host of other people, including one who's a senior editor at a large publishing house, an old friend of mine, to read my book and give me feedback before we went to the final stage of things before going to print. But yeah, your siblings won't hold back. So if you can trust anybody to give you, clear criticism, I think, I trusted my sister, and she came through. She had some really good notes, and I definitely made changes based on her feedback. So, I would recommend that. I definitely endorse the idea of asking some friends and family to help you out and read your work, and give you honest, unadulterated feedback. Don't send it to fans. Do it to people who actually really know you, that you can trust that they'll be honest with you, right? Fans are just going to blow smoke up your skirt, right? But family members and friends will be honest to a fault sometimes a little too honest, but they'll be honest. So make sure you're asking for feedback from people who you can trust will be truthful with you and not just say what you want to hear.
Yeah. And I think, Tom, when you're, well, I'm going to go with the book writing, when you're putting yourself out there in whatever, starting to share your story, a lot of times it's important to know what your family thinks about it. Some people are putting out, whether racy fiction or some nonfiction, where they talk about things that their family went through, and they're exposing their entire family. You like my son's truth. You remember things the way you remember it. Maybe somebody else remembers it differently. So you have to, it's good to get that kind of feedback. I just went through this with somebody that they had some trauma early in their life. And when they told their story about the trauma, this actually happens a lot, but this just recently, and the author is hurt by some of the feedback that people are saying, like, because the family maybe feels like they should have seen some of these things, and now looking back at it, it's putting a pause on that launch of the story, because they aren't comfortable. So, like Dragon said, tease the process, tease the project. That's, you can tease your story as well, and maybe some of these things would have been addressed prior. Okay, now, because I don't, my wife says I have ADD. You guys might think I do. But Tom, you said blowing smoke up a skirt. So what is this, like a Marilyn Monroe thing, or what? How is blowing smoke up a skirt a good thing? What does this mean?
I don't know the etymology of the phrase. I don't even know if I said it right. For all I know, I used the phrase wrong. I'm gonna look it up real quick.
Please. Yeah. I mean, I'm thinking, well, Marilyn Monroe walked across that thing, but how was blowing smoke up? Like, is it like, I could see maybe if you were some kind of person that indulged in recreational drugs and somebody was blowing smoke in your face, maybe that's the reason for it, but not up the skirt. So find that out if we're moving on.
So it's apparently it's a nicer version of blowing smoke up someone's rear end.
Yep.
But it's a rude phrase meaning to lie to someone in a way that flatters them.
Okay.
And I don't know supposedly it was like it had something to do with this idea that the best way to revive drowning victims was to warm them, and so they would blow like warm air on them. I don't know. That's what I'm finding in a quick internet search, but yeah, it basically I did use it correctly. It's a flattering lie. Is essentially what it is, but I don't know the full etymology of the term. It's a weird one.
It is okay. All right, let's move on. We got to talk to Stephanie Lopez. Gotta spread the love. I'm reading. This is her bio here. Gotta spread the love. Random acts of kindness. The little things are the big things. Yeah. Scissor sharpening repair. My barber should find you. He's always complaining about the cost. Okay. Build people up. I agree. Okay, Stephanie, we're talking about launches. If you have a question, ask a question, or if you've had some success, go on.
Hey guys, no questions. Hearing everybody and learning from everybody. Thank you.
Hey, well, okay, then just give us I read the bio, so just throw us out a line of something you're up to.
Well, right now I'm sharpening a pair of scissors. So when you speak, if you hear the noise in the background.
All right, well, you do you. Okay, keep up the good work then, and keep listening. We appreciate you. All right, we are going to keep this thing rolling. I see a Legendeering link up there. Get yourself a copy of Legendeering. I see the title. Live, not the smartest guys in the room there. Tom's looking at me. I see Tom right there. So, Tom, we are going to Dr. Tachi, but I haven't read a Dr. Tachi bio in a while, and I am all things media, tech, and pop culture. Founder and producer, Indie Soup Media, a content network and full-service production hub. Host of Mediascope. I watch Mediascope. All right, let's go. Dr. Tachi, give us a tip or ask this esteemed panel a question. Go on.
Good morning, everyone. Good to be here, as per usual. Good morning, Dom and Tom. So we were talking about launching, tips for launching, correct?
You nailed it. Go on. You got shows. You got a whole bunch of stuff. Networks. You're launching it all.
Yeah. So number one, it's start where you are. Just do it. It doesn't matter if it's a little janky at first, because if you never launch, you never, think about. Let me say that again. If you are always thinking about what you don't have, you will never launch. That's what I mean. So I don't have this. I don't have that. We have to wait for this. We have to wait for that. You'll be waiting till the next millennium. So just do it. If it needs tweaking, that's fine. Tweak along the way. That's what everybody does. I don't know anyone who ever launches anything that is 100% ready to go and perfect. There's always something. There will always be something. Just do it and deal with it as it comes. The next thing is give yourself grace, because sometimes you can't launch at the time you intend to because something technical happened or whatever. And you talk yourself into a frenzy of, oh my God, I was supposed to launch yesterday. Well, they were okay without it the day before. They will be okay without it the day after. So take your time and do it well, and do it when technology or whatever allows. It's completely okay. So you've got to give yourself grace. Number three. I'm hoping this is the case, but if you have not, talk to other people who have done what you are doing and ask how they did it. Now, that doesn't mean that's exactly going to be your path, but it's helpful to have a start of a blueprint rather than nothing. You take what works for you and you throw away, or put to the side what does not work for you. So those are three things that I would say when you're looking to launch. Oh, but let me do a pre thing too. Sometimes we launch without doing the proper research because we think this is what people want, and it's really not what they want. It's what you the hell want. That's what you want. Did you ask people? It kind of reminds me of like whenever people are going to different places because they're donating, like different countries, maybe different countries in Africa or Asia. They're like, oh, well, we're sending computers. Did you ask them if that's what they need? No, that's what you want to give them. So rather than giving people what you want to give them, which is important in the equation because you have to want to do it, you need to find out what they want and need and desire. Okay, now I'm done.
I think that's a great point, Dr. Tachi. It actually makes me think of, there was some blowback on, some companies like Tom's Shoes, for example, right, was one, and they've stopped doing what they were doing in terms of like the buy one, donate one methodology or give back that was kind of part of their company ethos. Everybody in the West really like bought into it and loved the idea of it. But at the end of the day, the people they were giving the shoes to didn't really need the shoes. They had other things that they needed. And actually, a bunch of studies and research that I've seen and that I've heard quoted have found that more often than not, you're better off companies, if they want to do a social give back, if they want to do, have a social benefit component to their organization, they're actually much better off giving cash to community organizations and local organizations to help communities out than they are trying to give goods. And ultimately that enables those communities who know what they need, who know what they want, right, to be able to spend the money on those things rather than getting a truckload of shoes and going, great, we don't need these shoes. What are we going to do with these shoes? Like, these shoes are not fixing our clean drinking water problem, right? Like, the problem is not that like I don't have shoes to wear to walk back and forth to the nearest clean well that's 6 miles away from where I live. The issue is that the well is 6 miles away from where I live. Like, I need a well closer or in my village, not in the next village over, right? So like shoes really don't help with that problem, but cash, which you could use to pay someone to drill a well, will go a long way to solving that problem. So there's been a lot, and some of it is like this, there is a sense of that goes along with altruism, like a sense of condescension often that goes along with charity and with altruism, that really, I think people need to take a step back and examine, because basically what you're saying is, we're not going to give you cash because we don't trust you to spend the money on the right things. We think you're going to waste the money, so we're going to give you what we think you need. And there's something very condescending and belittling about that kind of messaging, where you're much better off to say, hey, look, what do you guys need? How can we help you get that? Cash is the best way. Okay, great. Then that's what we're going to do. We're going to fundraise and give you cash. Or, hey, maybe we can strike a deal with a well drilling company and, get a better deal because we're going to pay them to drill 10 wells in 10 different villages rather than each village having to pay for it on their own, right? So we'll get a discount because we'll be able to pay for it for a bunch of villages. How does that sound, right? But like working with the people you're trying to benefit rather than just throwing stuff at them, I think is an important thing. Make sure that when you're giving, you're giving a gift that people want or need, right? And also make sure that gift is a gift and not an ask. That's something I saw that quote not that long ago from my friend Will, and I thought it was great. It really resonated with me. But make sure when you give something, it's a gift, not an ask, right? Gift has to be a gift. So I think that's always something good to remember in your giving. By all means, keep giving. Just, maybe look at it through a different lens. That's all I'm saying.
Well, good points, Tom. Thank you for sharing. And just on that, a more simple, most nonprofits set up, they have Amazon wish list as well. So if you want to, like, let's say I'm involved in this organization called Feeding the Spirit. On our Amazon wish list, we might have dog food. We break the dog food. So we break a bag of dog food down into 50 bags or probably could be 100 bags. And then we, little cellophane bags. And then we give it to people and it should carry them and their dog 7 days. So our organization loves to have money. We know what to do with it, whether it's buy somebody a bus ticket or get them up to Walmart and get them some clothes so they can go on an interview, or pay for a night at a hotel, or pay for catering, or we pay for their IDs at the Social Security office, all those things like that. So cash is king, but that Amazon wish list is also a benefit too. All right, go on, Tom.
And I was just going to say, this is the season when a lot of people are donating to local food banks, right, to help make sure that people have holiday meals and don't go hungry over the holidays, right? And families are taken care of. So and a lot of those food banks also do toy drives around this time of year. One of the things I would definitely recommend is, if you want to donate, amazing, fantastic, I salute you. That's a great thing to do. If you have the means and you're able to support, please do it. Also, please go to their website. They'll often have lists, like Dom was talking about, whether it's an Amazon list or other lists. They'll have lists of what they really need, right? And if they don't, reach out to them. They'll be happy to tell you what you could donate that'll make the most impact, right, for the people that they serve. So just do that, like 30 seconds of research before you go out and buy stuff, because you may end up accidentally buying things that they don't really need, or that don't really work for them, right? So yeah, just another thought. Do that little bit of research. Go to the website, reach out to them, and make sure your donation is as impactful as possible.
Yeah, good stuff, Tom. This is not the smartest guys in the room. We get sidetracked. We talk all things. We try to make a difference. We're believers that your voice, your story makes a difference. So today we're talking about launching. You might launch a nonprofit. You might be helping them launch. So your idea might be like the one guy that we had in this room from time to time. I think it was like 222 with that provides so many gallons of clean water a day. I don't remember what the twos were, but here was a guy using his voice, using his message, using a social audio platform to raise awareness for whatever he had going on. So keep up the good work. Hey, Paul, I met Paul on LinkedIn in a LinkedIn Live. I'm wondering Paul, number one, had you done this space before? What space did you use first? LinkedIn Live, or did you use Clubhouse first? Just wondering.
Pretty sure I used LinkedIn Live and audio events first, and I ended up coming to Clubhouse to talk about a course that I launched, LinkedIn Success. So that's
all right.
kind of
Good. So let's do it. So do tell about how you launch. We should all be using LinkedIn, and I know you're pro LinkedIn. I believe in it 100%. So Paul, teach us.
Yeah, first I just want to say, Dominic, Tom, Prof T, Julie, Carrie, good to see you again. Thank you so much for having space and allowing me to speak, and congratulations, Tom, on the launch of your book. I would say I love the idea that Dragon shared about beta testing, because I don't really think that people know how important social proof is. When I launched my course, I mean, I got like people to sign up, and I've always made money from launches, but it didn't go as how I thought that it would go. And that kind of ties into the first thing that I would say is really remove expectations from the outcome and just do it for the impact and that you really want to help people. It's interesting in the book space now. A lot of people, I think, get so caught up in this whole bestseller thing. I see people like doing anthologies that are like giving books away for free, charging like 99 cents. And people have gotten so consumed with the idea of, oh, I want to be a bestseller, or they want the accolades and the vanity metrics, instead of forgetting that why you put your book out, right? It was to help other people, the whole impact behind it. And I would add too, just for transparency, a lot of these accolades that you desire are kind of pay to play, right? Like that's something that a lot of people don't tell you, is that they invest a ton of money in PR. Um, it's one of the main reasons I think why so many people join anthologies, is because you pay X amount of money to be a part of a book, and instead of promoting it yourself, you have like 30 plus people doing it for you. So it's kind of like it automatically gives you the status that you want almost. The other thing that I would add too, and this is something that I've learned from a mentor, and she says that sales is service. I don't think I've ever seen her promote anything that she really sells, but she always sells out. And it there's something to be said about leading with value and service, right? Like, I look at a lot of the things that I've done, and I've always made sure to give people before I asked. And I feel like that is something that I see on LinkedIn, where people are just tagging people because they want reach and impressions. But if you don't do it intentionally, you can actually ruin the performance of either the content or what you're trying to do. And then the last thing that I would share is video is so powerful. I almost do like exclusively like video content now, because when you're trying to connect with people, I feel like there's no other better avenue to do that, because people can see through like your eyes, your tone, all these type of things. They can tell whether or not you're genuine and you mean the things that you say. And yeah, that's what I would add. And thank you for allowing me to speak.
Thank you, brother. Good tips all around. We appreciate you, and just clap if you're on LinkedIn, if you don't mind. How many are you? Are you at? Okay, one. We got Dragon. I see Dragon. I see Billy. Okay.
We're streaming on LinkedIn right now, Tom.
Hey, so you are on LinkedIn, and you can't stop it. Okay. Hey, Leslie, Iona, Trish, Phil, if you want to come on up. Okay, we are cruising along here. Carrie, you're launching businesses. You're launching podcasts, even books. What tips do you have for us, or you got any questions? Go on.
Yeah, hi everyone. So I wanted to weigh in about Prof T and her book, because I know that she's so great, and I'm sorry that she has some frustration around it, but I'm not surprised, because it's a saturated market in a sense. But I would say this: having a podcast, my friends aren't going to listen to my show. They just don't. They say they will, but they don't. So when you go to your friend base, I think you can just right off the bat kind of be disappointed. You think that they're going to support you, and a lot of times they don't. For example, last night I went to a really good friend of mine, her holiday party. She's a holistic healer, and she's a dear friend, and she's single. And can I get her to read my book? No. But the two women who work at the desk, they were like, Carrie, we desperately need your book. Do you have the manuscript available? And I said, well, I have the audio chapters. And they were like, can we I don't even know their last names. And they're like, if we give you our cell phone, can you text us some of the MP3s? And so it was surprising to me that strangers are interested, and then good friends aren't. And I think you have to kind of put your ego aside and not be hurt by that, because people are so busy. So to get them to listen to your podcast, or to get them to sit down and read something, it's like such a big ask. So I'd be curious if other people feel the same way that I do. Yeah.
Carrie, this is a subject I'd love to dig into here. Like, I just have this. What percentage of the population, and this isn't for you, this is for everybody in the room. I'd like to, what percentage of population reads books? What could it be? 40 tops? Yeah, really? So, okay, 40%. Now you like 60 just don't do it. Okay, then now you're down to 40%, probably 20 are reading. Half of those are reading about sports. The other half are reading about romance. Okay, now you're down. The numbers whittle away so quickly, like even for like the podcast. Okay, what percentage even have the availability to listen to podcasts? Because maybe they work in the factory and can't listen to podcasts. Maybe they have their kids around and they can't get, their kids are controlling the radio or the computer, whatever it is. So I think sometimes that we take it too hard when the possibility, sure, I get it, man. Like, I remember even like having a restaurant, I would think, oh, I wish my family would show up. They all say they want to come. And then I'd think the same about my friends and with the books. But I think the best thing to do is, how can we meet new people? How can we introduce ourselves to new markets? And then you'll find those people, like those two women that you mentioned. You went somewhere, you got into a new market, and then you found two more two more people that were like, hey, we are interested in exactly what she's talking about. So stay the course. That's my answer. Tom, you're shaking your head. What do you think about that?
Well, I just want to like, I'm going to quote my publisher really quickly. We were on a call. I think this was a couple of weeks ago. We were on a call together talking through some details and stuff about the book and the printing and how many, how many we were ordering and all, stuff like that. All that really fun stuff. But we got into a conversation about books and about the world of publishing and book sales. And one of the things she said to me, and you would probably have better insight into this than I would. I'm quoting somebody here, but she said over the last several years, book sales are up 7%. Right? So book
Truth.
sales are
Mm-hmm.
correct.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Yeah. So book sales are going up. So while maybe it's not as common for people to read as a sort of primary source of entertainment, right? Or a primary source of leisure. Book sales are going up. It is definitely not something that's going away, right? And so I 100% believe that you should, if you have a book in you, and a lot of people do. I didn't know I had a book in me until basically my publisher, after a couple of conversations, said, I want to publish your book. Are you in? Right. So I didn't even know I had a book in me, right? At least not yet. So I would encourage you, if it's something you believe in, if it's something you want to pursue, there is opportunity. Book sales are increasing year over year, right? So the market is growing, not shrinking. So I just want to be clear that there is opportunity out there, but get good people on your side, just like anything else. I think the sort of self-publishing world got overrun by a lot of sort of predatory people who were looking to essentially just take your cash and give you something not very worthwhile in return, right? There's a lot of sort of bad advice and bad actors in the self-publishing world, just like there are in any industry, right? So make sure you surround yourself with good people that are going to give you good advice and steer you in a good direction, right? That's incredibly important. And don't just go based on your first gut intuition, because those have been known to be wrong. I've been wrong myself. I'm sure everybody else in this room has been wrong about their first impression of somebody before. So go for check references, get recommendations from people like and trust before you jump in bed with somebody. But surround yourself with good people. There are definitely opportunities out there in the book world. And if you're looking to write a book, I happen to know a guy. His name's Dom. He's in the room with us right now. He's got a great business, Motivation Champs, and I would encourage anyone and everyone who's ever thought about writing a book to reach out to Dom and work with him. He is somebody you can trust to be very honest with you and steer you in the right direction. He's not there to just take your money. He's there to help you achieve your goals. And that's there's a big difference there. So that's my endorsement for Dom.
Hey, and right as I get an endorsement, my screen froze for a second. Tom, appreciate it. I just put out a video on LinkedIn today about if you're trying to find a publisher, and it doesn't have to be me. Go do your research. The right publisher is out there. And Google, research, ask a friend, buy one of their books. There's so many things you can do before you just jump right in. Like sometimes you might see this flashy price, or you might see this flashy ad, or you might see this thing that says, get on stage or make $1 million, sell 1 million. Okay, that's good. Now do some more research and see, find out a little bit more. And I always love to have these conversations. And I think at our root, it is that truth. We want to make the story the best possible story. We want your brand we want that book to be on message. And sometimes it takes tough love, or it takes asking the hard questions. It takes sitting down and picking a little bit to find out, here's what's going on. Hey, Carrie, did those answer any questions or not? Or any follow-up thoughts? I don't want to just rant and then move on, but go on.
I liked hearing that the book industry is growing, and Prof T is really good at networking, and it had me thinking that, look, I moved 2 books last night by going to support a friend at a holiday party, and my boyfriend was like, "Don't just give them the audio." I'm like, "You know what? They need the information, and give it to a woman. A woman's going to tell 10 friends." So you got to get people interested, and I don't mind giving something away if it's going to help somebody and lead to 10 more sales. So it just got me thinking about the networking piece. So thanks so much.
Network to success. Go on, Tom.
Yeah, I just want to say one other thing too while we're on the subject, talking about, kind of multimedia approaches to things, right? If you've got a book and you're publishing a book, one place where I would recommend you spend some money is to turn that book into an audiobook, right? Spend a little bit of money, turn it into an audiobook. Per copy, right? The audiobooks are less expensive than the print version of the book, but you can sell a lot more of them. And the reason I would suggest spending some money is you're much more likely to get recommendations if you hire a professional to read the book for you, right? You're much more likely for people to enjoy it and get recommendations and have it shared with other people if you have somebody who knows what they're doing read the book. Most people are not good at reading out loud. And all I would do is have all of you think back to when you were in middle school and you were all reading the same book in English class. Maybe it was like, or high school, maybe it was Romeo and Juliet, right? Let's go to that, because that's probably one that, like, I feel like most people have read at some point in their educational career, right? Probably early in high school, or in high school, you read Romeo and Juliet in English class, right? And you went around the room and the teacher asked everybody to read a stanza, right? Or read a page in Romeo and Juliet. How many people in that room did a really good job reading out loud, right? Almost none of them. And often even the teacher wasn't very good at it, right? So just think about that. It's a practiced skill. If it's not a skill that you have developed, right, then you should hire a professional to do it. It will make a dramatic difference. If you're not good at reading out loud, people will just stop listening to your audiobook. So make sure that you spend a little bit of extra cash and get somebody good to read it for you, but make the audiobook.
Thank you, Tom. I should let you know I have a book. It's called audio book called How to Write a Book in 2020. It's about 100 straight easy tips how to write a book. And I did not read it. I used exactly what Tom said, hired a professional, and they read it. Although I have this beautiful voice, and I am not against people reading their own. Like I listened to. I actually got Matthew McConaughey's audiobook, and I couldn't take it because he was putting on such a show that he was performing, and so you could see like, oh, that's cool, but for me it didn't work. But I read the book and I was able to consume it at my own speed. But in my case, there's How to Write a Book in 2020. Check the audiobook out. Professional did it, to Tom's point. Okay, Billy, man, we're talking about launching. You launch products, you launch businesses. What do you got? You got tips for us, Billy? You just hanging out? What are you doing today? I wonder what Billy's doing right now.
Right now I'm in the car with my 5-year-old who's under the weather for the second week in a row. So we are hanging out this morning, and then I'll go to the studio later and produce some videos, some product videos. But
how many are you going to do today? How many?
Man, I try to do 6 to 10 a day. Just depends what I got coming in, but that's the goal.
Consistency came up today. Consistency came up when you're launching things. So go on, Billy. Sorry to interrupt. Keep it up. Give us some tips.
Yeah. Well, I think there's so many great tips. And Dr. Tashi, I'm like, her and I flown on the same brainwave, because I'm just a take off first and then figuring it out as I go. So I build the plane on the way down. That's my approach to every business, because and everybody's situation is a little bit different, right? It depends on your resource pool and all that stuff. So if you're starting off cash heavy startup, whatever investor. It depends on the product and the industry. A lot of stuff that I've launched has just been listening to the people around me, and they go, "Oh, we need this." I started a t-shirt business that way. I was doing graphic design and creating logos and brand packages, and I got asked 100 times in a row to put it on a t-shirt. And I'm like, I sent them to the guy down the road, and then I went down there to pick up an order, and he tells me how much money he's made off of my referrals, and I'm like, what? So I started watching YouTube videos, learn how to print t-shirts. So I just listened to the people around me, but I started that t-shirt business with $900, turned into hundreds of thousands of dollars per year for almost a decade. And so that was all from listening to people around me saying, hey, here's what we need. Pandemic comes, same thing, closes my t-shirt business down because we're working with nonprofits, building product tables, all that stuff goes away for big audiences. And I just, for 30 days, listened to people around me. I need to go online. We have old print media wanting to go online. We want to do podcasts. So I started helping people with podcasts. And I started a podcast. And then I monetized the podcast. Then I get on Clubhouse, and people on Clubhouse are like, what? You make money with your podcast? What the heck is that? No one's doing that. And so I didn't realize, I was like a 1%er in the podcasting space. Started helping people do that, learn about Amazon. So you kind of see how this goes. And now I work with hundreds of brands creating product videos because I'm just fulfilling a need in the marketplace, and I'm leveraging my skill set that I've built over the years to do that. And so, it quickly gets me in a place of being able to pivot very fast. Like, what are you going to do about this? What are you going to do, if this happens or that happens? And I'm getting a red bar, so I don't know if I'm out. But anyway, I think just I produce more than I consume, and that's what I try to do. So I think I was in the red bar.
No, you were for a little bit, but it was good. It was good, Billy, and we appreciate you. So I have a question for you, Billy. What is your favorite of all these things you do? Is there like where do you live now, Billy? So two questions: where do you live now, and is there a favorite thing you do?
Yeah, so I live in Wilmington, North Carolina. And when I get to go offshore fishing, it's one of my favorite things. It's pretty fun as a hobby, and then as a business, my favorite thing that I have discovered that I don't do very often is live selling. So on a secondary market on an app called Whatnot. It's literally my favorite thing, and so we're looking to scale that up in 2024. But once again, that was kind of this progression of business. Once again, just fulfilling a need and something that in my current business was trying to get rid of a bunch of product. And how do I do it? Oh, I can sell direct to consumer. Oh, I can go live. I can go live and do what I love and goof off and sell product. Like, this is crazy. So yeah, that's me in a nutshell. And we'll see what the future holds. But right now, it's a lot of fun.
Billy, man, thanks, brother. We appreciate you, and I always follow what Billy's up to. I can see he's cutting edge on things. So if you're looking for a good model to follow, then I would check out what Billy's got going on. And I was asking because I know Billy's into a lot of things, and I wonder if it ever is a means to an end, or if he's always, like, I wondered about the fishing. I know he likes to fish. Is it all so he has more time fishing, or is some of the stuff that he really enjoys and he wants to be able to do them both? So we'll continue. Tom, what's going on over there? You're in, you're out. We're both in and out. So we are not the smartest guys in the room, and I want to tell you, if you're live streaming today, I feel I've went on and off like 50 times. Tom went on and off. I was on the live stream late. So I will say shit happens. But one of the things that to our live, not the smartest guys in the room, or any production, anything that you're doing, I have a belief: the show must go on. Every day, the show goes on. No matter how you feel, no matter what side of the bed you woke up, your brand, your message, the show must go on. So even though we got all kinds of weird shit going on, the show continues. So go on, Tom.
Yeah, no, absolutely. The show definitely must go on. And look, we're doing this for a while. We're on a live stream, kind of tied to our desks, and every once in a while, you have to get up. Occasionally nature calls, and you have to answer that call. So that's all it was. I just stepped away for a minute, and then I thought. And when I do that, right, like if I have to step away for any reason, or if Dom does, we sort of take ourselves out of the live stream so that we're not live streaming an empty seat, right? Because there's no reason to do that. I thought I had clicked the button to put myself back in the live stream, and I had not. So Dom was messaging me on the back channel like, everything okay? And I was like, oh, oops, I thought I was back in. So yeah, that was the reason for the extended absence if you were watching the live stream. But I was here listening. I heard the vast majority of what Billy was talking about by the time I got back to my desk. So I just forgot to click the button. Sometimes that happens, right? There's so many buttons I have to click. I showed Dom a picture of my desk, right? And tell everybody that this is accurate, Dom. I sent you that picture. I had a friend of mine. I showed him what my desk looks like, and he texted me back, and the first thing he said was, "What are you doing over there? Launching a space shuttle?" And because I have quite the setup on my desk. I've got 5 monitors, and it looks like mission control in here. And so yeah, that was his reaction. So there's lots of buttons I have to press, lots of things to keep track of, and I just forgot to click one for a couple of minutes. So that's what happened.
Thank you, Tom. And one day our buddy Jason, you're gonna help him walk through just to set up a couple more things so he can live stream like that. So I'm asking for the favor. All right, so let's go on. We got our Creative Con. Creative Con. There's Julie and Creative Con. Creative Con. Hit the link. Make sure you go. Make sure you attend. Make sure you check it out. We're gonna have network. We're gonna have community building. We're gonna have publishers, podcasters, public speakers, people in production, promotions. It's going to be a 2-day event in Chicago. We are going to blow the roof off of it, and you're going to leave thinking, I can do this. You're going to be able to do it, and you're going to take your brand, your message to the next level. Speaking of which, Julie Loken, I don't know. I saw Julie here, then she left, then she's back, but she said, I think she thinks we kicked her off. We would never kick Julie off. So, Julie, you are my friends from the 5L, they call me their Sherpa. Is it Sherpa, the person that Sherpa? Sherpa. They say help them. Those are the guys. I had to look it up. They help them. They help you climb Everest. Well, I'm one of those monks. I help guide them. So, Julie, weigh in, teach us, give us a tip for launching. What do you got?
Hey guys, no, it wasn't you. It was Brian Swift who was kicking me out of the audience. So I kept getting kicked out of the stage, but I'm back. You can't keep a girl down. And I love this conversation. I'm just like, oh gosh, this is my jam. And I'm, oh, I'm hearing reverb. Okay, so maybe Thomas
You're good.
unmuted, but
no,
okay,
you're good.
good.
You're good.
So thanks, Brian Swift, for kicking me off the stage. Just kidding. So I want to tell you, and I'm talking to Tom because I'm looking at him live right now on LinkedIn. So I'm talking to Tom, but anyone else that is launching a book, this is what you do. And people can't be changed by your words if they don't find it. So we're talking visibility, discoverability. Get out your pens and paper because this is what we're going to do. We're going to make sure we have editorial reviews. We're going to make sure we have editorial reviews that are going to uplift your message. That's an easy thing, right? Number one. Number two, we're going to look for influencers where you can send your book. Who are those influencers that, like, let's just say it could very well could be Brian Alves. Brian Alves could have you on the podcast. He could show your book off on all his media. Find influencers like that and start building out a plan. You have to spend money. You do on any sort of launch if you do it correctly. You don't have to spend all your money, but it is an investment in your audience, and your message. I'm not saying just because you want to be a number one Amazon bestseller, because guess what? Every freaking person is an Amazon bestseller. I can make you an Amazon bestseller in like 2 seconds. It's not hard to do, and it's almost watered down. Like I'm not saying anything bad about TEDx, but everyone does a TEDx now. Everyone's an Amazon bestseller, at least here on Clubhouse. Sign up for BookBub, promote your book, do a promotion on BookBub. That is like the hugest thing you can do is apply for BookBub and get your book out there. Robin reads, Book Gorilla, get on other people's podcasts, like Brian L's podcast. The algorithms change the sales of your book and or product. So make sure you understand the algorithms of where you're getting your book out. You need to change the world. You need to get testimonials. That is a huge thing too. So I just want to say it's okay to be a little braggadocious. Tom Langan, it's okay. And you will change the world with more people listening to. It's like people who don't want to, ask for money because they feel guilty about it. Well, if you don't make money, you can't help other people. Your business will go in the tank. So those are my little tips of the day. Oh, and make sure you have a media one sheet as well. Okay, thanks, guys. Bye.
Good stuff, Loken. What do you think, Tom?
Yeah, I mean, look, I think if you're gonna market anything, you should think of that as an investment, right? In future sales, in growth for your business, for your company, in growth for the mission that you're trying to further through the work. So, absolutely, I agree with that. I've never heard of BookBub before, so
You got to do it. Apply for it because it will change the trajectory of your book for sure. That's like number one, the biggest thing you can invest in.
Never even heard of it. So yeah, I have no idea. It looks like, is it bookbub.com? Is that what you're saying?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Yeah. There's some scammers out there, and I forget who was talking about it. Like, I think you were. The advent of self-publishing. There's so many scammers. Oh, let me make you an Amazon bestseller. I can do it. You give me $60, I can do it in a day. It's not a big deal. Anyone can do that. But for real substantial leverage in selling the book, and I know it's not about selling, but it's about sharing your message, check out BookBub and apply and see if you get in, because it's pretty amazing. And I'll give you another tip. Fussy Librarian. That is one of my favorites too.
Say that again.
And Carrie should be listening to this as well. And Dragon. Where's Dragon? Fussy Librarian. You will go, and I know number one doesn't matter, but they have such huge mailing lists and followings, and people purchase. It's another way to leverage your visibility and find, you always want to get in front of other people's audiences. So that's kind of what I'm talking about with BookBub and Fussy Librarian. Robin Reads. Those are good ones to start with.
Gotcha. Cool. Good tips. Thanks, Julie. Appreciate it. Learned a few new things. I'll definitely look into BookBub and the Fussy Librarian. Yeah, check them out. See if I think they're a good fit for me. But yeah, appreciate it.
Good stuff, Julie. Thank you. We appreciate you being here. And Julie will be at Creative Con in Chicago.
I may be, Dom. I'm not sure yet. I haven't bought my early bird ticket yet, but I'm looking to get one.
Better get those early bird. What a good Christmas present for somebody. Okay, now we are going. Jason, you're launching stuff. I was just on a show that Jason just launched, Man to Man. So if you're launching something, Jason, any tips you got?
Well, there was a lot of tips. I'm not going to go over what everyone else has already repeated time and time again.
Well, I don't want somebody else's tip. Come on, man. What kind of dumb question would that be? I want your tips.
Here's the most valuable things. First, I'm okay, and I learned this, and I was really thinking about Matthew McConaughey's book, and then I thought about Arnold Schwarzenegger's new book about, be in service, or whatever it was called. And one of the things he said, start out with they both said, start out with a wide perspective and narrow down. And so when you don't know anybody and you're trying to get your book, podcast, whatever, YouTube, yes, the first thing is you're going to want to go to your people that you know. But what do you really know about your people? So, you evaluate down. Okay, now I know people who are actually interested in books, and what kind of books are they into? Okay, so when you do that, the one thing I would tell you is like, have a intriguing conversation that you slowly lead, whatever you're publishing, putting out, even a clip like, hey, would you mind checking this out for a minute? or this passage I'm really I'm working on, getting my stuff out there, but I just want to see what you think. Invite to a conversation where people are going to be nosy. And that's my theme of the week. Are you creating an instance where people are going to be nosy? Now, Dominic, we had a great interview on Saturday. So if people want to see, it's in the chat. And some of the responses I've had throughout the rooms that we've had this week is, you know what? I felt like I walked into a conversation I just wanted to sit and listen in on. Like I'm kind of like the peeping Tom. No offense, Tom, or I'm the guy that's like I'm just walking by and wait, what's going on here? And the responses that I've gotten for about at least 6 people that I know that actually went and watched the whole episode, they literally said, I could identify with that. I started in not in the beginning, but a middle or a part. And then I went back and I listened to the whole thing after you gave me a link. And so all I did was create a conversation that where people are going to be curious. So, and where I got that from is how to influence how to influence people and make friends by Dale Carnegie. I'm forgetting the exact title, but
It's the best.
How to win friends and influence people. That's right. And he says in, I think, chapter 2 or 3, he says, spark people's interests, to invite them to come in. So you find, like, first you're familiar, like that wide perspective, your friends know who your big mouths are. That's the number one influencers on anything. Know who your big mouths are, and then narrow down. And when you incentivize your big mouths and then they spread your message, and then, and of course, you're going to work on everything that everyone else has already said. Yes, you're going to work on your brand. You're going to work on your niche. You're going to work on complete strangers. Complete strangers are going to consume more of your work than the friends that you have, but you can leverage your friends and your company. But get to know your people. You know them in conversation. But do you ever ask, if you're a writer, what are the things as a writer I need to know about my circle of friends? Are they just writers themselves? Are they a mix of people? Evaluate your company and then look at their strengths and find the big mouth, talk to them, be behind them, work with them, then work out. And it's a multi-strategy pathway, because you've got to work on the business side, like Julie and everyone else would say. You got to work on the personal side, the how you're relatable and reachable. And then the most important thing, that if you can't list your podcast, your book by, essential key terms, like if you put like special characters, you're not searchable. I do a podcast review on Thursdays. And the number one problem with many of the podcasters out there, the hobbyists, the beginners, and even some of the advanced, I can't find you because either your terms of your show or the title of your show is so genericized, you're lost in the weeds. So you've got to make something stand out when it comes to how it's published. And you've got to look and understand those keywords, and the phrase that you use is going to produce results to you. So that's really the sum and package I can give to you. So yeah, but if you guys haven't checked it out, the link is in the chat. Dom did a great job, and people really liked. Here's the story they liked about you, Dom. They liked about how you explained how you're a fighter. And if you notice right now, and you're watching his YouTube, and I picked Muhammad Ali's picture, the black and white where he's standing over Sonny Liston, I believe. I picked that to prompt where he started talking about why Motivation Champs, why he's a fighter, and how he stands up for people and believes in people. So that's all I got, and that's where I stand complete.
Hey, brother, good tips. I appreciate you. You need to give his show a listen, man to man, jump in Jason's rooms, always a straight shooter, just like he was here. The thing about straight shooters, you don't have to agree with him. Doesn't mean everything he says is absolute fact, but you always know where he's coming from. It's good stuff, and I appreciate you, man. And my live stream, Tom told me to reboot, so I am rebooting. I'm still here, but this is the worst my computer's been. I apologize. I'm depressed.
You guys
now.
are using Restream, right?
Yeah, we're using Restream. Tom, I'm depressed now with this.
You guys know you can message each other privately, right? While the stream is going, right?
We do, man. We talk about you.
Oh, okay.
We see, man, Jason's pissy today. So Tom, go do your thing and then go
No,
go
I'm
to
pissing
Brian.
excellence.
Yeah, no, we're we use Restream. It works. It generally works pretty well. I honestly think the issue is local on Dom's side. I think we should enlist one of his the more technologically savvy one of his kids to take a look at his computer and figure out what he's got going on that is bogging it down and causing it to run like a rusted out Lacar from 1984, because that's about how smoothly it's running for anybody in. Go ahead, Jason.
Tip, you just sparked my trigger. Okay, this is something all streamers need to do before you go live stream. Go check your bandwidth before you go live. Find your internet provider and look at the speed that you have on your connection. Because if you don't, you're going to have glitches. So if the signal is weak, if you're not plugged in by an Ethernet from however you're producing, and you're just tethering off a Wi-Fi, that could be a major reason for your drag. So check your bandwidth. It's one of the number one tips for live streamers through YouTube they recommend. So look up the best connection speed tips for live streaming in YouTube. And there's a lot of guys who talk about it. So check your speed of your internet in your device, because your Wi-Fi could be weak. That's my tip for every streamer.
Yeah, no, that's not the problem. It's a computer issue, it's actually the computer itself, not the connection. Believe me, we've had that conversation and I would go one step further than what you're saying, Jason. I would tell everybody listening, don't ever live stream via Wi-Fi. Always, you should, if you're live streaming, if you're broadcasting, if you have any hope of making sure that whatever you're putting out is as lag-free and as clean as possible, do it via a hard line, period, end of story. Just do not ever trust Wi-Fi for something as important as a consistent signal for live streaming. But yeah, it's not. Believe me, we've Dom and I have had that conversation. He's got a wire strung crazily through his house to make sure he's got Ethernet running to that computer. It's not the internet connection. It's the computer itself.
It's like a diesel, man. How often do you guys, and I'm rebooting, we got to get to Brian, Dave, Amanda, and Jamie. How often do you actually turn off your computer? Let me go on.
Yeah. Hey, restart it every time before you go live.
Yeah, I reboot my computer every day.
Chrome every day. Yeah.
Okay, so at the end of the day,
every day, Tom, every day.
Is that normal? That is, like, at the end of the day, do all of you flash if you turn off your computers every day?
It's normal if you want your computer to work.
Well, see, I got about 20 things open, and then I like to go back to them the next day. So I'm
That's the problem, dude. Too many tabs. If it's Chrome, it's just eating up all of your bandwidth on your computer, man. Chrome is horrible.
And it stops you from getting hacked too. Don't forget that. Shut down your source. So shut down your hardware, because for hackers to get access to you. So shut it down at the end of the day.
Dr. Tachi, go on.
Yeah, one thing in terms of the tabs, because I was guilty of the tab thing too. Use a Chrome extension called One Tab. It puts everything in one tab, and then it doesn't eat up, because Chrome takes a lot of resources if you're using Chrome. So if you use One Tab, it puts everything in one tab, and you can use those tabs as you need. So you only have one tab open.
Okay, I do use Chrome, and I will investigate. And I just keep buying more storage off these guys. Okay, we are going, and if my computer gets back up before you get to the next,
hold on, pump the brakes for a second.
Come on.
I gotta
damn.
I gotta highlight.
I'm lucky
something.
You're not looking at me. Go.
I gotta highlight something. All right, you just said I keep buying more storage from them, and I just want to highlight how well that statement illustrates the fact that you really don't understand how this works, because how many tabs you have open in Chrome has nothing to do with whether or not you're paying for like storage on G Suite, right? The two are completely unrelated.
I hear you. I hear you. But I would think I just thought in my mind, like when it's telling me almost out of space, I buy more space. That's all.
Yeah, but that's like saying that's like if I said to you, just to illustrate how unrelated those two things are.
Okay,
If
go
I
on.
said to you,
I haven't been beat up for a while, so bring it on. Bring it on.
if I said to you this morning for breakfast, I had an English muffin and my car won't start. I don't understand. I put gas in it, but it won't start. I had an English muffin for breakfast and it won't start.
When Tom is driving me to Creative Con in February, and that's the first time we're actually physically going to meet in person. And you might end up staying over here like the night before or something. We're probably going to end up like there's probably going to be like an all-out brawl, and we'll end up like by the time we get to Creative Con, we'll both have black eyes and cuts over our faces and stuff.
I think there's going to be a lot of laughs. That's what I think there's going to be, Dom. I think there's going to be a lot of laughs.
That is true. That's true. Hey, and Tom, you got 3 more people to get here. It's a race. So my computer's rebooting. After we talk to Brian, Dave, and Amanda, unless anybody pops up on stage, Tom's going to wrap this show up. But we got to meet Brian. We got to talk to Dave. We got to talk to Amanda. But it's a race because my computer is rebooting. So you can I shut it down like 5 minutes ago. So we will see how long it takes to load up, and you guys can tell me if that's normal. And then go on.
I'm gonna so 2 things. I have a question for Brian that I want to ask if I can. If you don't mind me stepping on your toes. The other thing I was gonna say is
how about it?
The fact that you're still waiting for your computer to boot up after like more than 2 minutes. It shouldn't take, for any modern computer, it should take less than 2 minutes to boot up. Period. End of story. Right? Like it should never take longer than 2 minutes to boot your computer up. If it takes more than 2 minutes, there's a problem. So the fact that you're still waiting for it to boot up is a huge red flag. Huge, giant, gargantuan.
Okay, well the clock is on. I think we could be at 15 minutes easy. Ask your question. Go to Brian.
All right. So here we go. So I wanted to ask a question, Brian. Brian is going to be joining us. Has purchased his ticket. Is joining us at Creative Con, and so I wanted to hear from Brian why he's coming to Creative Con. I mean, we've heard from you guys have heard from me. You've heard from Dom. You've heard from Julie. You've heard from John Wiley, all the people who are going to be there, who are going to be speaking, who are involved in putting on the event. But I want to hear from somebody who's coming to attend the event, why they're coming.
I think that's a fabulous question, Tom. Thanks for asking that. So first, I want to address Dom and his computer. So it's almost like the dishwasher is full. Let's add another room to the house. That's basically what's going on with your computer right now and and your storage. I'm going to Creative Con because in my industry, we tend to collaborate and talk to people who speak our language. I'm in the video production industry. My background is video production. My background is marketing, video production, video marketing, all that good stuff. So we tend to gravitate towards people who speak our language, basically. So Creative Con is very attractive for just kind of coming out of that bubble, coming out of that, just that constant conversation that is always the same. Networking is pretty much the word to sum it all up. Like, we do not network. I'm around video editors all the time. We're afraid to network. We're afraid to reach out. We're afraid to talk to people. We're very creative people. We don't do that kind of thing. So networking is super, super important. And that is one of the main reasons why I am going to Creative Con, to expand my horizons and to network with dozens of people who just do not know what the hell I'm talking about, and I don't know what the hell they're talking about. And that's what's going to make it fun. And that's going to be some new connections and growth for 2024, and to just expand my mind a lot. So I'm looking forward to meeting everyone who's going, especially you, Tom, because you speak our language, my language, and but we're not going to talk for very long because it's going to be a boring conversation. So I'm going just to speak with everyone, to learn, to grow, to network. That's the most important word.
I love that, Brian. Thanks for that. And I'm looking forward to meeting you there too. I know we've been, Brian and I've been playing phone tag. So we're going to connect outside of this space as well, for sure. And I would argue, I don't think the conversation would be boring. I think our conversation is going to be really interesting because we, are approaching some of the same problems, but with unique perspective, and bringing our own skill set to bear on solving problems for people and getting them to use video more. And I'm right there with you on my mission is to humanize the world of business through better communication. Yours is to rid the world of bad video, and I think those two missions are very much aligned. So yeah, I look forward to many more conversations together. Yeah, I think it's going to be a lot of fun, and I appreciate your viewpoint, sharing with everybody why you're coming to Creative Con. I think it's important for us to give people the opportunity to share their insight, and it's very instructive for us too, right? I mean, this is, for myself and Dom and Julie and our other partner Heidi, this is the first time we're putting on this event, and we hope it's the first of many iterations of Creative Con, because I think it's a place, it's an event that's very much needed. And I really value that input. It's going to help us continue to make this event even more valuable going forward as we move into future iterations. So thanks for sharing that, Brian. I appreciate it.
Yeah, no worries. And I'm trying to get you on my podcast so we can talk about your book, because my audience, that's your audience. Those are your peeps. So trying to get you on my podcast. So I'm not going to leave a voicemail anymore.
Yeah, make it happen, gentlemen.
I
Ooh,
look forward to it.
By the way, I'm seeing it says there is my one screen is up, the other screen's black still, but they are black like there's power. It says getting Windows ready. Don't turn off computer. Tom, you got 2 more people. Go for it.
I cannot believe how long this is taking. I wish we had started a timer when you actually hit reboot. I mean, I can actually look. I can see on our text thread.
And this is why I don't shut it down, because I'm thinking, oh, it's going to be another half hour. So then, like today, but now I'm going to start shutting it down. Go on.
So it's been 14 minutes since I said you should just reboot. So I don't know if you rebooted, if you started before or after that, but it's been 14 minutes. And your computer still hasn't booted up. Honest, I got to be honest, Dom. If that were my computer, I'd be thinking about taking a ride to a computer store and getting a new one.
Oh no. Okay, keep going. You got 2 more people. I'm rooting for my computer now, because you are all getting a show. You know what? You're getting a show and tell if I can get this computer back on. Come on, do your thing, Tom.
All right. So we'll move along to Dave. Dave, today we're talking about launching, all things launching. So share a tip, ask a question. The floor is yours.
Yeah, thank you. I first question is, Dom, are you still running Windows 98 on your computer? Is that why it's taking so long?
I saw that comment, and that was a good one. Touche. Bring it on.
No, I'm glad that Dom can take a bit of a ribbing, and I always love his positive attitude towards everything. Don't really have much of a question or a thing. I'm starting to launch again for my coaching program in the new year, and I struggled last year with launching, so I actually partnered up with a company that's coaching me through it, helping with the ads and everything else. I've spent money on training before, but this is finally a company that has given me not just the training, but are helping me put together the ads. So at least for my time, when I've tried to launch instead of just doing it on my own, I sought out the experts, sought out people, particularly because I live in Dublin, Ireland. I found experts within my region, because before I was getting from people from the United States, and launching things is, while very similar, they were able to kind of help me more on my own time zone. I don't have to do it at a crazy hour to have the meetings with them. Here I can do it during the middle of the day, so it's a little bit easier. So I found that that's been really helpful. So hopefully we'll be able to get this ad campaign and the thing launched by the start of the year. So I also want to say good luck to you guys at your conference that you're launching. I think that's amazing. I just came back from an ADHD conference, and I'm part of a men's group. And I've known these guys online for years, and it's the first time I got to meet them all in person. And I know that's a cool feeling to kind of like after seeing people online that you've known for years, meet them in person, give them a hug. It's a cool thing. I'm pretty sure you guys will fight, but I hope you'll probably share an English muffin together as well. So. Yeah, best of luck on that. I wish I could make it out to Chicago because I used to live there, but it's be a bit pricey for me to try to make it out from Ireland. But best of luck to all you guys, and that's all I got.
Thank you, Dave. And I was looking at your post. I saw you were at the conference. Good stuff. Go on, Tom. Still hourglassing.
I can't, man. I can't. Oh my! It's literally. It's been 18 minutes. It's been 18 minutes. That thing isn't even a paperweight at this point. Like it's not even worth it. Literally, it's not even worth its weight as a paperweight. Dave, thank you so much for sharing that. Really appreciate it. Wish you could make it out to Chicago as well in February, but cool to hear about your experience at the ADHD conference and meeting those folks in person for the first time. That's one of the things that I'm looking forward to most, right? I mean, obviously we've got a banging lineup of speakers. We've got amazing people that are going to be there on stage, sharing inspiration and then conducting workshops, teaching folks how to put some of these strategies into action as soon as they leave the building. But at the end of the day, getting to meet and network and get to know all of these people is really one of the things that I'm most excited about personally, and I can't wait to be there with everybody in Chicago in February. Cold time of year, but we'll have a good time nonetheless. We'll be indoors, so don't worry about it. I'm also Dom. I gotta say, I'm loving the chat. Is particularly the Windows 98 comment, and Dr. Tachi, actually he's using a Commodore 64, and I was just thinking to myself, I feel like the professor could build a better computer out of coconuts before yours reboots itself.
Hey, just because I can't see you on the live stream, I'm reading these comments. I saw Stephanie up there put a little AOL thing in her profile, so I see these 98s. I see the Commodore. It's still hourglass, and I hope Tom, Amanda, stretch it out. When you give your tips, when you ask your question, stretch it out, and maybe this computer will be back up. So go on, Tom.
Yeah, I think that's probably good advice. You're going to have to stretch for I don't know, stretch for the rest of the day, because I have a feeling that computer is never booting up again. But Amanda, you know what we're talking about. We're talking about launches and all things related. So what do you got for us? Drop a tip, ask a question.
Yeah. So first of all, it's great to see everybody again. It's been a while since I've been able to make it, but I guess for me, from a bit of a different angle, and I apologize, I also came late. So long story short, I'm working with an AI startup right now. And so there's about 7 of us. We're trying to get this thing, launch, market it properly, whatever, what have you, right? And so one of the things we keep being told by VCs and, just by a ton of people out there that have expertise in this, right? Go to market strategies, things like that, is we have to sell ourselves, right? And so typically, the first thing people think of, like, I'm going to use myself as an example. Well, I have 20 years of data science and analytics experience, blah, blah, blah. And typically I would lead off with something like that, right? Well, the problem with that is, and other people are like, yeah, great, great. Well, not really, because pretty much everybody in my community that's been around for a while, we all have the same thing, right? So for us launching, it's not just us putting our bio on a slide and say, hey, I have this experience, that. it's finding something different that could be a conversation piece that applies to our audience. So, for example, we're looking to get in government contracts with defense and Space Force and things like that, right? So, I happen, and this is random because I don't specialize in cyber, but I've been on the cybersecurity advisory board for a university, stuff like that. So my background of data kind of merges on that, but I'm the differentiator for them because I'm not a hardcore hacker in the space. Anyway, long story short, for me, I'm starting up as a senior fellow with this nonprofit. Called the Cybersecurity Forum Initiative, and what they really do is get government and different branches of the government up to speed on cyber warfare tactics and things like that with education. So that's something that I could take, from my background and say, oh, okay, not everybody does that. And every time I tell people that, or my PhD research is in orbital space debris, those kind of things are little differentiators that every single one of us has. That's a bit of a conversation piece that's going to differentiate you rather than you just rattling off your typical bio when you're launching or selling yourself. Dig a little deeper and find those little things. And to you, you might be like, fine, whatever. Like for me, I'm a senior fellow for this thing. It's not like I'm the president or this, but the thing is, I am going to do research for them, and it just sounds cool. So it's something when you're trying to go to market, you're marketing yourself and the team. Again, it's a conversation piece, especially when we're going after government contracts. I mean, it's right up the alley. So that's what I encourage everybody. That's kind of my tip is find your little tidbit that's a little different than somebody else. Don't just rattle off your typical bio, and you're going to be surprised. It's going to really help you with your launch and kind of push you over to get some, buzz and people actually excited about it. But anyway, again, pleasure to see everybody. And with that, I will yield.
Thanks, Amanda. Love that. Yeah, I mean, I think it's incredibly important. It just made me, what you were talking about made me think about this idea of like key differentiators. And one of the things I run into all the time in the video production industry is, and I actually got a question like last week about this. Somebody was looking for some explainer videos with for an industrial type application, manufacturing application. So their marketing agency reached out to me and said, can you send some examples? And I have like some stuff that's, related to that I've done before, but I've never specifically done an explainer, 60 to 90 second explainer video in their particular vertical, right, in their industry. And I'm pretty sure I haven't had the meeting yet, and I'm pretty sure that's because I don't have an example that exactly fits what they want to do to pull out of my back pocket. And I see that as a good thing, and I think it's a huge mistake when organizations or businesses look to see what everybody else is doing and then copy it, right? It's easy. It's an easy path. But the problem is you're not differentiating yourself. You're not setting yourself apart, and you're not giving anybody any reason to care about you or your business instead of any of the other businesses in your vertical, right, in your space. So you have to differentiate yourself. And what you should be looking for is people who have novel approaches to solving problems for your industry rather than people who are so embedded in your industry that they can't see the forest for the trees. So I hear you, Amanda. That novel approach, the way I always like to describe it is I like to come at problems sideways. Right. I like to come at things sideways rather than head on. And a lot of people, particularly in business, are very linear in thinking. They're very if then kind of thinkers. So if they've done something like this before, then that tells me they can do it rather than really looking at, do they have the requisite skill set and can they apply that skill set to solve this particular problem for me? In which case the answer is obviously yes. I'm a veteran television producer who's been nominated for 2 Emmys. I definitely can produce 2 60 to 90 second explainer videos for an industrial application. So the question is not, can I do it? The question is, have you done it exactly before? And the answer is no, but that's actually a good thing. So I appreciate what you're saying there. I think people need to look at differentiating more carefully and make sure that they follow through on it.
Tom, love it, man. And as a publisher of books, I spend just as much time. I spend more time. My time is a lot on social audio, on Facebook, making videos, all these things that I think are so important to sharing your story. I love the written word. But if you're asking me compared to other publishers, well, there are some things. I had some early mentors that told me certain things, and I watched them do certain things that were successful, and we still do those things. But to Tom's point, there's so many different ways to be successful. Maybe look at it a new way. Maybe did you ever try this? But on the other parts, rather than bang your head against the wall, if somebody's already there's a proven way this works. Well, you can still look at these other features and options, but don't discount what worked, but also don't discount that there might be new ways and better ways. The old way isn't always best. Okay, it says Dominic. My computer says Dominick Domasky. Welcome. So I see. Maybe I need to buy some new security. You think, like McAfee or something like that? Maybe that's why it's taking so long. I don't know.
I am. You can't see me because you're not on the live stream anymore because your computer is.
It's only been 20 some minutes. Come on.
A jalopy. But I'm smacking myself in the head that you're like face palming so hard that I'm afraid I'm going to leave a mark on my face, and I have to be on a panel this afternoon. When your brain goes to, it took almost half an hour for my computer to boot up. Maybe I need better security software. No. There's a problem with the operating system on your computer. It doesn't have to do with the security McAfee that you're running.
Okay,
Stop
see,
it.
this is good. This is good. Okay. Tom, I don't think, damn it, Amanda, why didn't you ask more questions? Because I don't think my computer's.
I didn't save you, Dom. I didn't save you.
No. All right, Tom. Keep going, but I got nothing more to add, and I'm worried now. I'm worried.
Dr. Tachi, what do
You
you
guys
got,
are just
Dr. Tachi?
killing it. You're killing me. I'm watching your live stream and I'm just dying laughing here.
You should have put my computer hourglass on. Go on, Dr. Tachi.
This whole thing is hilarious. The whole thing reminds me of the sweet roll sketch from the electric company back in the day. Kept asking for a sweet roll, and she kept saying we're out of sweet rolls, and you just keep saying, okay, well then I'll just have a sweet roll. It's not all of that, but I'm enjoying it. I'm enjoying the comedy. Would it be advantageous until you're able to upgrade or do something with your computer to just join with your phone? I don't know how good Restream is with that. I know StreamYard is pretty good, but would be another option, especially if you have a newer phone. Just use your phone from now on, since Tom is running the entire live stream. You just really need to join.
Yeah, I can't see it, but I will tell you one of the things that makes a lot of sense that you have each said today is that I should close down and I should reboot. And I remember Heidi, before we did our masterclass a couple weeks ago, she said, no matter what you do, reboot your computer that morning. And I rebooted my computer like she said that morning. I never thought that this is something I need to do all the time. So maybe I will start there.
Did it take a half an hour to boot up?
That day, I don't know, because it's usually I go down to my office, I push a couple buttons, and I go back upstairs.
But the fact that it takes so long, that your routine is to just leave the room and let it's not like it's not a classic car that you have to let warm up before you drive it.
You guys are killing me. I got to say, I am taking some humor in this, except I wonder what time. I'm going to message you all on, I'm going to message everybody. We have a show and tell, since we're not going to have it today, it seems. Later on today, show and tell, I'm going to put on our Instagram page that we just started, Not the Smartest Guys in the Room.
Dom, didn't you bust Tom's chops last week? So I think you're kind of getting some lemonade yourself, huh? Don't you think?
Yeah, probably. I flew under the radar for about a year or so. So this is it's pretty good. I will put what time I'm actually able to log back in today. It'll just say only people that go there and we're here will know. It'll just say, hopefully it says like 11:25, but it will say the actual time. So Tom, wrap us up.
Hold on. One more question for you, Dom. So all right. So it took about half an hour for the computer just to boot up. right? Are you saying you've entered your password and it's working on starting up, like it's working on opening up now?
Yeah, I'm in like Microsoft, and I think I have the newest Microsoft. So I know, Dave. I know that you're. What I've learned today is don't tell me about Microsoft. It's your computer. But now it seems like it is Microsoft.
Well, how long have you had that computer?
Like 4 years.
I mean, yeah,
Intel. It says Intel Core IS 7th Gen. Let's see what this. I didn't even know what it is. HP.
yeah, it's a Hewlett Packard. That's the brand, right? And it's got an Intel processor, like pretty much every other Windows, like the majority of Windows machines, not every other, but the majority of Windows machines run on Intel processors. They're not the only company that makes processors, but they're the most common. So like that's just normal stuff, man.
Okay, that's all I know. So that's on.
I
You asked me. Yeah.
yeah. Okay. I mean, I don't know. Yeah, we need to get you some tech support there, buddy, because either your computer is just you've accidentally or incidentally installed some software that is just totally messing your
Could
operating
be. Yeah,
system
I
up.
need somebody to come out. Who should I what should I do? Should I get should I call like what are they like whatever
Do not
geeks and have them come
call
out?
do not call Geek Squad.
Okay.
Like,
Uh,
do you have a friend who's in the IT business?
I got a guy named Johnny Bravo I play cards with. I think he is.
If
They
you got
call
a
him
friend
Johnny
in the IT business, talk to them. Be like, here's the
they
problem.
call him Johnny Bravo because he's about 6'5" and he weighs about 100 pounds. So he's the opposite of Johnny Bravo, but his name is John. Go on.
Gotcha. Yeah, no, talk to your friend Johnny Bravo who's in the IT business, or find a friend in the IT business, talk to them, have a conversation, say, look, this is what's going on. They're gonna be shocked and appalled when you tell them it took a half an hour for your computer to boot up. But yeah, tell them what's going on and ask for their advice. And I would bet dollars to donuts they're going to tell you to get a new computer. That's my guess. Because it's probably not worth the amount of time it would take to try to figure out what's going on with yours and or to do the necessary upgrades to get it running smoothly with the newer operating system. So yeah, that's my guess, right? Is somebody's probably going to tell you to get a new computer. 4 years is kind of a lifetime for a laptop. Got to be honest.
I did not know this.
Can I add something to that? You might want to think about having someone build a professional computer that is going to last and not just buy one straight out of the storefront. Because when you buy your individual components and you pay that extra money, for PC users, you're going to have longevity because you're not paying for the stock, the RAM and the processor. You're paying for a processor that's going to work towards your needs. So maybe consider looking up people that professionally build computers for your needs, because that might be the avenue, especially if you're in this business. You're live streaming, you're producing, and you're doing other things. And that takes a lot of speed and a lot of memory, believe it or not. Then again, Dom, you could always come to the dark side and you can just go to Mac. You can do that too.
All new buttons. That seems too hard. It's hold on. It's you guys stalled. Tom, you better wrap this up now. I see my desktop. It's loading on. So you better wrap this soon, Tom.
Can I tell you, Dom, how long it takes my computer to boot up in the morning?
Yeah, go on. Let's hear it.
It's done. That's how long it takes. From when I asked that question to when I just answered it, that's how long it takes my computer to boot up.
First thing I do when I get off this clubhouse today, although I think I have another meeting. That's not good. And I think it's online. First thing I am doing, I'm calling Johnny Bravo and getting some help. Tom, wrap us. We got to go.
All right, here we go. So look, we've been on a little bit of a journey today. We talked about launching books. And Julie was kind enough to throw the link for my book, Legendeering up, which is available for pre-order everywhere books are sold. I'm always encouraging people to go to bookshop.org because I love that business and they support local bookshops. And I'm a fan of supporting local businesses. So you can just Google Legendeering the book or Legendeering Tom Langan, and it'll pop up all the ways that you can buy it. Pre-order it now. It's available anywhere books are sold. But we talked about launching books. We talked about launching events. We talked about Creative Con. Brian shared with us why he's joining us at Creative Con in February. Carrie threw out maybe a road trip herself. So yeah, I guess I just want to say that two things. Like, one, when you're launching something, I said this very early on, but when you're launching something, whatever it is, explore opportunities, talk to people, get advice. We got a ton of great advice, but figure out what your message is. Get on that message. That message is your drum. Beat that drum, right? Beat that drum at every opportunity you get. Talk about it at every opportunity you get, because it won't be new to everyone, but it's going to be new to someone more often than not. So make sure that you grow that audience and you bring in new folks by beating that drum at every chance you get. It's going to feel like you're beating a dead horse, but you're not, right? Because it is new to someone. It's not new to everyone, but it is new to someone. So make sure you do that. And then at the end of the day, when it all comes down to it, count on your community, lean on your friends and family for resources. They will help you and they will help you spread the message. And when in doubt, ask for advice, right? Ask for help. I think that's one of those things, just because you're launching something, starting an event, launching a book, starting a podcast, whatever the case may be, whatever it is that you're doing, you're never alone. You can always ask for help. It's going to feel lonely at times, but you can always ask for help. So I think that's how I want to close it today. Ask for help. Dom, please, for the love of God, ask for some help with your computer, my friend. And let's get that thing up and running so you can actually join us on the live stream next week. But that's all I got.
Love you guys. Go on, Tom.
Go ahead, Tom. What you got?
I still not completely up. I still hourglass 11:31. Seeing the desktop. I'm gonna fill you guys in, but no, love you. Thanks for all the advice, and I will do better. I will take your input and try to do better. Thank you.
Well, it's not that you need to do better. You just need a computer that's up to supporting you, right? I mean, it's a tool, and if the tool's broken, you got to replace the tool, right? So yeah, I hope you can get a computer working so we can all see show and tell next week. Looking forward to seeing your post later today. But until then, that's all we got for this week. This is Not the Smartest Guys in the Room. I'm Tom. For my friend Dom, we thank you guys for being here. We love you guys. We appreciate you. And we will see you next Wednesday at 9:30 a.m. streaming all over the internet, but also here on Clubhouse for Not the Smartest Guys in the Room. Until then, have a great rest of your week. Love you guys. Bye-bye.